Right. Let's be a little bit more relaxed, Pauline. Let's think about this with a little bit more clarity. Because you can hear that it's more than a passion, Pauline. There's actual reality. Because it's on the Supreme Court record now. It's on the Supreme Court record defining what you do in that government to be technically delusional, Pauline. Now, I'm asking you very, very specifically to go and look at Kiskanen versus New South Wales 2021. This man was accused of being delusional, and the judge proved him to be not delusional. And in this claim, Pauline, it can be very well proven that us not being delusional would make you, Pauline, yourself, deluded. I don't believe this of you because they arrested you. They put you in jail. You probably know what we know. It's a delusion, and the population are deluded into the delusion forced upon them by the police. Now, the unfortunate thing for the Australian police, Pauline, including the AFP, who are a failed command, a proven failed command, but the unfortunate problem for the police is they've been demonstrated to have taken part in a war crime offence, Pauline. A real war crime offence, Pauline. Documented on the Supreme Court record, Pauline. On the Supreme Court record. Now, I don't want to play politician here. I want to play barrister. Because you're in a world of shit. A real world of war crime shit, Pauline. The Hague Conventions, the Geneva Conventions. And when you read this court case, Pauline, Kiskanen versus New South Wales 2021, I think you'll come to realise this. I think you'll come to realise that you work for a delusion. You're employed by a delusion at law. For people to believe in the oath that you took at law is to be considered a deluded process, a delusion. Because that oath is not the oath linked to the Constitution, Pauline, in any way, shape or form. Now, proven on the court record. So, we have a really big problem in our country in that you got caught the fuck out, Pauline. Totally caught the fuck out. And I don't like swearing, but I kind of do. Because we're at this point 15 years later where you people fucked up so hard, that you walked into war crimes. Well, real international world war crimes, Pauline. Like Hague Convention war crimes, Geneva Convention war crimes, Nuremberg offences, Pauline, Yamashita Protocols, Pauline. Like, these are the scenarios at which we, as a body of people under the imperial crown, recognise. And being recognised in Supreme Court under the Constitution, Pauline, we don't fall under the Constitution anymore. We fall above it. God, kingdom, and country. So your Constitution comes from our authority, not yours, Pauline. You took an oath to a foreign, curial power in that government. So that Constitution comes under our authority. And this is where you see New South Wales police scramble like little bitches because they got caught out on the Supreme Court record, Pauline. On the Supreme Court record of New South Wales, Pauline, documented war crimes, Pauline. Documented war crimes backed up by Justice Lonergan of the Supreme Court, Pauline. Justice Lonergan of papist pedophilia overseeing in the judiciary, Pauline. I don't know how to explain it when I've put something by myself, Pauline, all the way up the whole entire chain of that courtroom to end up in the Supreme Court, to be recognised by all the justices of the Supreme Court, Pauline. All of them. Not just one, all of them. And when I say to these justices that they have a line of authority held in the imperial crown, forged by a sovereign, and they recognise that, Pauline, recognise that curial right, Pauline. Do you know what they're recognising? They're recognising their line of authority in their law, Pauline, their very own line of authority as judges, Pauline, to their imperial crown that got occupied by a St Edward's crown. And a St Edward's crown that committed war crimes, opening the door to Nuremberg-style offences, Pauline. This is real stuff, Pauline, that Stephen did, Pauline. Very real stuff that I've done. Okay? You can find this stuff on a Supreme Court record now. Everyone didn't believe me for 12, 15 years, Pauline, but now it's before all of you. You can't deny it. It's on the Supreme Court of New South Wales court record, named and titled, and by a curial right defined by Justice Lonergan. And I'm sure Justice Lonergan recognised her own line of authority in it. Her own line of authority in it. So, Pauline, you have a real problem legally. This is what I'm getting at. You now have a problem in international law. You've been mucking around with Aboriginal sovereignty and treaties and Madaraka agreements, and these Aborigine have been unable to prove anything in international law. Well, I'm telling you straight out, I've done it, it's on the record, it exists, it's real, I already did. I did what every other Aboriginal tribe failed to do. I even offered, Pauline, this is the sad thing, the sad reality to all of this, Pauline, is I offered all those tribes help. I went around Australia and I offered all these tribes help. I didn't want my help. I didn't want to know that a white Australia could have been sovereign on the land next to them. No. They wanted to be selfish, Pauline. It was all their land. They wanted to treat it like it was all their land now, Pauline. And look what's happened. They lost. They took corporations instead of sovereignty, Pauline. They want to manipulate the internal Constitution, Pauline, against white Australia that own the Constitution. We're the naked owners of the Constitution here, Pauline, and now it's recognised on a Supreme Court record. And you're manipulating our Constitution here, and you've made criminal offences in the offices of Prime Minister in the bid to manipulate and undermine my Constitution, Pauline. And this is now all recognised on the Supreme Court record, putting a lot of the stuff that you do into the auspices of criminal law, Pauline, criminal actions, like international criminal actions, like what Albo's just done. So moving forward, Pauline, I don't know what you're going to do, because we ain't going away. We have a legal line of authority to stand in this country. That's our Constitution, not yours. You're administering our Constitution. You failed to do it properly. You failed to do it in a just manner. You broke the law while doing it. You undermined it and ripped it off while doing it. You went outside of Hague Conventions and Geneva Conventions while doing it. So you've kind of crossed this boundary now where you don't have a lawful right to exist, Pauline, as a St Edward's crown. All you have is a flex of war power. That's all you have. Because you've gone outside of every rule that you're ever supposed to uphold while administering this country in that government. You got caught the fuck out doing it. You got caught the fuck out doing it, Pauline. This is a total problem for all of you, because now I stand, Pauline, on the Supreme Court record. I stand with my own standing outside of your governance, Pauline. Isaiah 9:6. You stand on my shoulders, Pauline, at law. My shoulders at law, Pauline. You're in my government, Pauline, under a foreign crown, Pauline, at law. We're not talking opinions here. We're not talking all of this hoo-ha. I'm telling you directly that if I walk into that Supreme Court and put this down on courtroom record, that Supreme Court judge is going to recognise that it exists and it is real. Because it was put on that Supreme Court record already, Pauline. So we've gone past this make-believe stuff. It's real already. And this is where we're telling you. We're not asking you anymore, Pauline. We're telling you. This has gone past the point of presenting to you a legal argument at which you were expected to go and follow through with the law. No. You sat there and did politics with all of this stuff, Pauline. And now it's become the law. So we're expecting you now. We're telling you. We're not asking you anymore. We're telling you. If you do not go and deal with the problems that are in that Senate, in that government, in that House of Representatives, we're going to start doing it for you, Pauline. And we're going to start raising the people around this country with a red ensign. We're just going to push you off to the side, Pauline. United Nations or not, Pauline. You are war criminals. War criminals. You forced medically procedured an entire country. You do not get away with this stuff, Pauline. You do not get away with this stuff. You might think you can, but there is no way in hell over the future years, decades, you and your families are going to get away with this, Pauline. You and your families, Pauline, because you and your families are of a foreign curial power, Pauline, by your oath, Pauline. And that's the unfortunate thing here. And people across Australia have been rising to an Australian imperial crown, Pauline. They know who they are with their Anzac, Pauline, in their hearts and their minds. Know their foundations, Pauline. And this means, Pauline, is they're going to defend it. They know exactly what they're defending now. They don't have to worry about what's going on. They know who they are, they know what to defend, and they will defend it, Pauline. And if it means at the full cost of war against a war criminal force, then I'm sure they'll do that, Pauline. It won't be murder, it will be warfare against a war criminal force, Pauline, that force medically procedured this population from a foreign curial crown. There's a reality that's coming for you, Pauline. You can't escape this stuff anymore. So, I don't know where you go from here, Pauline, but I'm telling you, we've put this in your lap. You are obligated, as a senator, under the Constitution, under the Crimes Act, under a duty of allegiance to a crown, to deal with the problem in front of you. Lydia has been defined at law for a criminal offence, and the Australian Federal Police, according to your laws, Pauline, are obligated at that law to deal with that offence. A technical offence that's not politics, Pauline. So you call the Australian Federal Police this morning and you make those moves to putting that law before the Australian Federal Police, and you put those Australian Federal Police to investigating breaking those laws. And we're talking going back to the Parliament, burning the door down. We're talking about Craig Kelly and those same Aborigine in Craig Kelly's office, Pauline. We're talking about Lydia and the Greens and the undermining of the Senate, Pauline. This goes a lot further than a woman fist bumping the air, Pauline. This is an undermining of our Constitution from a faction inside the government. And that's a criminal offence, Pauline, and you're going to follow it up. You're going to follow it up. You make sure these criminal offences are found to be criminal offences, and you're going to make sure these offenders face the full punishment at the law. Now, this is where I tell you, Pauline, we didn't come to break the law. Jesus said very clearly, we came to fulfill it. Well, this is where we're at, Pauline. Get off your ass and fulfill it. You're being told by subjects of the Crown that you administer, Pauline, and get off your ass and start administering. Otherwise face what's coming as a Nuremberg trial, I would explain it as. You force medically procedured an entire planet from your foreign curial position, Pauline. Foreign curial position, Pauline. Already defined on the Supreme Court record for things that are forced medical procedure in a New South Wales jail system, Pauline. You have a problem, very, very big problem, very, very large problem, Pauline. And if you don't recognise this very, very, very large legal problem this morning, then I think you're going to be having a little bit on a back foot. Because we ain't going to go away this time. We are not going away. We are the Australian Imperial Crown. We are those Australian Imperial Forces. Those red ensigns with the six-pointed star that you see everywhere are our flag, Pauline. We're standing up to you. We're saying, follow the law. We didn't come to break the law, Pauline. We came to fulfil it. Go and arrest these people. Bring the AFP into that parliament and start investigating the crimes that are happening inside the Prime Minister's office, that are happening inside the Governor-General's office, that are happening inside the Senate, that are happening inside the House of Representatives, that are happening around Lydia's treason, that are happening around Adam Banks getting Lydia into the Senate in the first place. These are all criminal actions, Pauline. Crimes. And you are obligated now to get off your ass, Pauline, and do something about them. I.e., ring the Australian Federal Police, make the accusations, put the law down on the table, and expect those Australian Federal Police to do their investigations at the full extent of the law. Because we're going to follow into a courtroom, Pauline, where your Prime Minister's office has committed heinous international criminal offences and recently, over a referendum, committed an offence against the Criminal Code, the Crimes Act, the Constitution, the Accountability Act, and more, Pauline. So pull your finger out for once and do what you're obligated to do under our laws, Pauline.